AITA for telling my dad to look into a mirror and stop blaming mom for me not calling my stepmom mom anymore. I used to call my stepmom mom when I was 7, but at the time they heard it, they began trash-talking my real mom, criticizing her for looking hurt. I felt upset and stopped calling my stepmom mom. In my senior year, my dad claimed was letting my mom influence me and said it was sad that my stepmom was no longer called mom. My parents divorced when I, 17M, was a baby, and my dad remarried when I was 5. When I was 7, I started to call my stepmom mom a little, and that's what felt natural to me. They didn't ask me to do it. After I had said it several times, my dad gave my mom a heads up about it. I heard him tell my stepmom about it when we got home. I was in the office doing homework at the time. Dad and my stepmom started trash-talking mom. Dad said mom looked so hurt and offended. Then he and my stepmom said how shitty it was that she couldn't be happy for me. And Dad called my mom a big baby. My stepmom said she hoped my mom didn't stop me from calling her mom too. She also said it was sad that my mom was so selfish and put herself before me. All this because my mom looked hurt. Not even because she said something, because she looked hurt. I never called my stepmom again. I didn't want to hurt mom, and I didn't feel like my dad and stepmom deserved for me to keep calling my stepmom mom too when they were trash-talking my mom so much. It was noticed. Dad would call my stepmom my mom in conversation sometimes as a test, like, go ask your mom, or did you find your mom? And I would always say, I asked Mare, or I found Marie. I also told people I only had one mom and one dad, and I had a stepmom when asked, or if it came up. I'd do, even if my dad or stepmom could hear, and it bothered them so much. Then one of my half-siblings started calling my mom mom, and my dad and stepmom quickly, and actually pretty harshly shut that down. When it happened randomly at times for a couple of years, it resulted in a bit of a freakout, which I found funny given mom couldn't even look hurt without being all kinds of terrible things in their opinion. Now that I'm in my senior year of high school and almost 18, my dad has been more bothered by the fact I just, to them, randomly stopped calling my stepmom mom, and he brought it up to me with my stepmom in the room a few days ago. He told me I shouldn't let my mom influence my decision on who gets called mom and dad. He told me it seemed so sad that my stepmom was mom for a while, and then I just used her name. He told me if mom really loved me, she'd be happy for me. I told him it wasn't mom, that I heard everything the two of them said, that it made me reevaluate whether my stepmom deserved to be called mom anymore, and I decided nah, because they disrespected mom. Then I was like, so go look in a fucking mirror and stop blaming mom when she never even said anything to him, and they trash-talked her for how she looked. Dad accused me of lying and said even if it is true, I was shitty for holding that against them so much and blaming him as harshly when they just wanted me to be able to love everyone. He said I was too willing to assign all the blame to him, them, and AITA. Relevant comments. Commenter: if it wasn't such an issue, why did they react so badly to this? Then one of my half-siblings started calling my mom mom, and my dad and stepmom quickly and actually pretty harshly shut that down. When it happened randomly at times for a couple of years, it resulted in a bit of a freakout. And if they just wanted everyone to love each other, wouldn't they want that for your half-siblings too? NTA. They are only mad because you remembered the incident and called them out on it. And the blame is on them. They were the ones that said it and gloated about your mom's hurt, not you or your mom. Commenter: OP is apparently too willing to assign blame when he says dad and stepmom were to blame. But it was okay when the dad was blaming OP's mom for OP not calling his stepmom mom anymore. The dad can't take responsibility for anything and change the rules to suit his narrative. He's such a hypocritical big baby. Edit: I asked him how work was. He told me it was long and he's tired and sore. I'm sure he is tired and sore, but not from working LOL. I asked him a couple more questions and he just lied straight to my face. Then he said, "Are you suspicious of something?" I said, "Nope. I'm not suspicious of anything, I know." He didn't know how to take it and just stormed out of the room. Good. Now me and my son can get a good night rest and have a fresh mind when I call the lawyer tomorrow. Relevant comments. Commenter: follow your lawyer's advice and stop with the make it work stuff. He's continuing his deception and you already have the proof. It's time to have him served. Commenter: listen to your lawyer and go back to the house. Do not leave. Do not confront him. If possible, sleep in a different room and just tell him the baby is teething or something. I am so sorry you are going through this. I can only imagine the heartbreak, but you need to be very cold, and dare I say, calculated, because your and your son's future are at stake. Let him leave the house. Your mom can visit you and stay with you. Stay strong. You will get through this. Commenter: time to become a mother first and protect your child for their future. Shut off wife mode and do everything you can to secure your baby's future. There's zero reason to not simply confront your husband calmly and let him know you heard the phone call with his girlfriend while you were gone, and it's officially over. Tell him he's no longer welcome in the master bedroom and you prefer he just move out to be with her, but if he wants, he can stay in another room. Tell him you've hired a lawyer and divorce papers will be served, then Gray rock him. Look this up. Let him know you will only be talking about your baby with him from this point forward, and everything else will go through your lawyer, and give him their number. Take your power back, girl. Story 4. AITA for using information against my mother in court that I know will destroy her emotionally, mentally. I, 34F, am involved in a very dramatic court case with my narcissistic mother and the stepfather. First, a little backstory. When my sister was 1 and I was 3, my mother initially had custody. However, she had gone missing for 4 days, leaving my sister and me in the home alone. Investigations were done and we were raised by our father. There was a reunification plan. However, my mother did not follow any of it, and her parental rights were terminated. No one had ever talked negatively about my mother growing up or told me what happened. So when I was 20, I found my mom and decided to develop a relationship with her. Big mistake. After reuniting with my mother, I discovered quite a bit of information that I previously had not known. She is a narcissist, diagnosed formally, specifically vulnerable narcissist. My stepfather has BPD, diagnosed formally. This past decade has been torture, faked cancer. I was made to shave her hair. I had to pay them to watch my 2 children. Constant arguments, just too much to name. In 2022, my parents decided to move 15 hours away for a get-rich-quick scheme involving flipping homes. I decided to stay in our hometown because my youngest child's father died, and I wanted to stay close to his family. Plus, I was already in a year-long relationship. My mother was enraged. After she had already left, she tried everything to get me to move up with them. She asked me how much money to break up with my boyfriend, got me fired from a job, wrote posts online about how mean I am, texted my oldest about me, sent me 100s of messages each month, etc. This had been going on continuously for about a year. Earlier this year, I was served paperwork. My mother and stepfather are suing me for my grandparents' rights. However, no court date was ever sent. My oldest child goes to her father's every break, and when she came back from summer break with him, she was acting very different. I found out that my mother and my child's father have been in close contact for about a year and a half, had my daughter speak with my mother, see my mother, and record videos of her that my child did not know about. I have sole legal and physical custody, so, needless to say, a huge argument happened and I am now restricting any visitation. As a result of this incident, my mother and stepfather set a court date for a month from now. So, here's why I ask of AITA. For court, I plan on using text messages where my mother said my stepfather is a danger to children, text messages from my daughter's father stating my mother is psychotic and he would never give our child access to her, and my mother's court records. My mother has over 140 plus charges on her record in 5 different states. My stepfather knows none of it. I'm also using the fact that her parental rights to me were terminated, so legally she has no rights to my children. My concern is that knowing she's a narcissist, when I use these documents in court, it will humiliate her and probably turn my stepfather against her. I do worry it's going to trigger a horrible reaction from my mother, possibly the worst. I wish my mother no harm. I just want to be left alone and protect my children. I've been no contact this whole time, hoping it would stop, but it hasn't. I am feeling so conflicted. Relevant comments. Commenter, follow the advice of your attorney and do whatever is necessary to keep your children safe. NTA commenter, I just came here to say this. There is evidence that's applicable to the case. If she didn't want it made public, she shouldn't have filed. NTA, you're not there to protect your mother's ego. You're there to protect your children. Story 5. Cheated on a year ago, still not recovered. Ignore the username auto-generated throwaway account. I promise I won't leave negative replies. This will probably sound pretty pathetic compared to most of the real issues on this sub, but here we go. Long story short, got cheated on in my second relationship, which also happened to be my longest and last. Those stats at my age are pretty bad themselves, but that's a different topic. I found out she was cheating by going through her phone after she had started acting differently. I started digging to find out why, and boy do I wish I didn't do that. She was texting her best friend the whole time the cheating and planning to leave was going on, and what really messed me up was how she would describe our relationship as perfect, how I was the best relationship she's ever had, how she knew how much I love her, how much she loved me, how good I am to her, yada yada. But the reason she was cheating and ultimately planning on leaving was because of the way I looked. To put it quickly, I'm not the best looking or tallest guy around, certainly not what you'd call a catch. Come to find out, I'm unattractive and short enough for the person that I loved, lived with, was about to get a house with, and apparently had a perfect relationship with, decided to completely throw it all away. So that leads me to here. It's been over a year, and I'm not exaggerating. There has not been a single day from then that it has not been on my mind. It was the biggest fear in my life come true, that no matter who or what I am, I'll never be able to overcome how I look. My self-worth, self-love, self-esteem, whatever you want to call it, was absolutely and seemingly irrevocably shattered that day. I am at the lowest point I think I have ever been. I feel absolutely worthless. There is nothing I can do to change the issues that led to this. It's completely warped my self-image and I can't get myself out of it. I just feel disgusting to think that how look ended the relationship we had. As a secondary effect, I am now completely terrified of even attempting another relationship because I can't fix what's wrong. I wish those texts were full of how terrible I was and how many things I need to improve, but they weren't. And now I'm stuck worrying that it will just happen again if I manage to start a new relationship. And that's that then. Just needed to get this out somewhere. It's been eating me especially bad today, I guess. Relevant comments. Commenter: I'm sorry to hear what you have been through, and what this girl did to you is horrible. I hope you can understand that it's not your looks that ended the relationship, or that is what is wrong here and needs to be fixed. The problem is with who your ex is and her audacity to deceive and use you like that, and that's not an easy fix at all. Both she and her best friend sound vile. I wish those texts were full of how terrible I was. Those texts were actually full of how terrible she is. Commenter: sorry this happened to you. Understandable that it would shatter your confidence and paralyze you when considering starting other relationships. Have you considered talking to a therapist or counselor? Honestly, could really help you to tell the full story, process it with someone, and heal from it. Thank you for sticking around until the end. If you liked our videos, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Have a wonderful day. Story 2. AITA for refusing to pay for my sister's therapy after she ruined my wedding? Okay, so here's the deal. My 29F wedding was supposed to be the best day of my life, right? You know the drill. Months of planning, stress, money, all that stuff. My sister, 25F, was my maid of honor, and she's always had a flair for drama. But I figured she could keep it together for one day. Spoiler alert, she didn't. Fast forward to the big day. Everything's going smoothly until the reception. My sister gets wasted, like falling over, crying, causing a scene wasted. She starts ranting about how I always get everything, and how my wedding is just another example of me being the golden child in front of all my guests, including my in-laws. It gets worse. She actually grabs the mic during the speeches and starts going off about her struggles, and how it's not fair that I'm happily married while she's single. At my wedding, the whole vibe turned awkward, and my husband's family was just shocked. People started leaving early, and I spent the rest of the night trying to put out fires instead of enjoying what was supposed to be our special day. Now, weeks later, my parents say my sister is struggling with her mental health. No kidding. And they want me to pay for her therapy. Their reasoning is that since I'm the successful one, I should help out, and it would show that I'm a good sister. But she ruined my wedding. I don't think I should have to foot the bill for her meltdown. I'm still angry about the whole thing, and honestly, I feel like she owes me an apology first. But my parents think I'm being cold-hearted, and that it's my responsibility to support her. They're pressuring me hard, but I just don't think it's fair to ask me to pay for something she clearly needs to take accountability for. So, AITA. Relevant comments. Commenter: NTA. It seems your sister is not your only problem. Tell your parents one firm no, and then refuse to discuss it anymore. OP: I think you're right. I just need to say no and stop letting them guilt trip me. Commenter: she's not your responsibility. If anything, why aren't your parents helping her? OP: honestly, no idea. They're acting like it's all on me just because I'm more stable, or whatever. But it feels like they're just passing the responsibility instead of dealing with it themselves. Story 3. Baby monitor caught my cheating husband inviting girlfriend over last night. I found out a little over a month ago my husband has been having an affair for 9 months now. I've been trying to decide if I should try to make it work. He claims he cut all contact and wants to work on us. I often leave to stay at my mom's with our 15-month-old son. I have always done this throughout our marriage on days he worked long hours, and this time left the baby monitor on. I heard him ask her to come over. It was late, and she was tired, so she didn't come. He said, "I love you, baby," and she said, "I love you too." I also heard him say he's off work tomorrow. He conveniently didn't send me his schedule, so I didn't know, as he always works Tuesdays. Okay. Obviously, there's no more attempting to work things out. I am in the process of getting a lawyer, just getting funds together, but one lawyer had said not to make it look like I moved out, because he can claim I'm keeping our son from him. I'm not. He can see him whenever he wants, and abandoning our house, which the mortgage is in both our names. I called him after I heard him ask her to come over without letting on that I heard anything, and asked if he was still seeing her, and he of course said no. I asked if he wanted to work on things still. He said, "I'm here by myself, being faithful to you. Why can't you get over this?" Should I go back today and not leave the house again? It makes me sick to go there and be near him and pretend everything is okay until I get a lawyer. But also makes me sick thinking of her in my home again. Yes, he's had her in my home, in my bed. Please help. Edit. I am heading home now. He told me he went to work. Does not know I know he spent the day with her. My plan is to simply ask him how was work. Then maybe smirk a little, but not enough to let him know I know anything for sure, but get him sweating. Tomorrow plans to hire a lawyer, finally got the funds together, and follow his recommendations, then leave his sorry ass. I will keep you posted on how tonight and the rest of the day go. Thank you so much for all of your helpful advice. It is so nice to know I am not alone.